All right, so today we're diving into something we get asked about all the time, and that is uh, how to hire a WebDriver OYO developer.
Hmm.
And it's a smart question to be asking
Yeah.
because having good testing, particularly for websites in this day and age, is just absolutely mission critical.
Oh, it's so true. And you wouldn't believe the number of projects that I've seen that run into issues because they didn't think about testing early on.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And WebDriver OYO is becoming such a popular solution for so many companies out there.
Now, before we get into what these developers do and how to find the right one for you, want to make sure you're setting yourself up for success from the get-go. Head over to theperfectdeveloper.com and answer their 5 questions. It's a quick free way to figure out which platform is going to work best for you.
Yeah, I love that. It's amazing how much clarity those 5 questions can bring.
Absolutely. I totally agree. Okay, back to these WebDrive Rio developers. What's the deal with them? What makes them stand out in this crowded world of tech? Well, they're really the heroes of quality assurance, especially today when your website needs to work flawlessly across so many different devices and browsers.
Right, because who hasn't been there where you're on your phone and you pull up a website and it just looks like a total mess?
Happens all the time.
It does.
And that's where WebDriver Rio developers really come in. They're the ones who write the tests that automatically check if all the functionalities are working as they should be. So think of them as the guardians of smooth user experience.
Okay, so they're not actually building the website itself. They're making sure that everything on that website is working the way it's supposed to.
Precisely. And they usually focus on the front end stuff, the part that users actually interact with.
Got it. So what kind of tech skills should I be on the lookout for?
Well, because WebDriver Rio is built on JavaScript and TypeScript, those are non negotiable. You're also going to be looking at testing frameworks like Mocha and Jasmine, and they also need to be very comfortable working with CI/CD pipelines.
Whoa, hold on. CI/CD, what is that all about?
So that's about how often you're going to be pushing out updates and new features to your site. If you're going for a really fast-paced development cycle, you're going to need a developer who can integrate their tests seamlessly into that process.
Ah, okay. So it's all about keeping everything running smoothly, catching those bugs before they reach your users. That
Exactly.
makes sense.
Yeah.
But I imagine that this kind of expertise doesn't come cheap.
Well, it depends. You have your junior developers. These are the folks that are just starting out. Then you have your mid-level developers who have a few years under their belt. And then you have your senior experts who are really capable of leading whole projects. And so naturally, their salaries reflect their level of experience.
Okay, so let's break down those salary expectations. What kind of numbers are we actually talking about here?
Well, you'll find that North America tends to have the highest salaries. You're looking at an average of about $80,000 to $120,000 a year. Europe's a bit lower. And then if you're looking for the most budget-friendly option, Asia often has the most competitive rates.
Wow, that's a pretty wide range. I imagine freelance rates follow a similar pattern.
Absolutely. And the perfectdeveloper.com actually has a really good salary insights tool
Yeah.
that can give you more specific numbers based on location and experience level.
That's super helpful to know. Okay, so we have a sense of what they do and kind of what it might cost. But how do I actually find these WebDriver IO wizards? Do I need to go spelunking in some dark corner of the internet?
Not at all. There's so many resources out there. You have your online job boards,
Yeah.
you've got developer communities, even LinkedIn can be a good starting point.
Yeah.
But you know where I always tell people to start?
Let me guess, theperfectdeveloper.com.
You got it. They have a fantastic reputation for connecting companies with the best developers for their specific needs.
So they're like the matchmakers of the developer world.
Exactly. They take all the guesswork out of it. They help you find the perfect match, whether you're looking for a freelancer, a full-time employee, or even a specialized agency.
Sounds like a pretty valuable resource. Okay, so let's say I found a few promising candidates. How do I know if they're the real deal? What should I be looking for during that interview process?
Well, first, you want to make sure they have a really solid understanding of those core concepts. Ask them about their experience with different testing frameworks, how they approach test design, and how they stay up to date with the latest advancements in web testing.
So it's not just about knowing the tools, it's how they think about testing.
Exactly. You want someone who can really look at your website with a critical eye, identify potential weaknesses, and then craft tests that cover all those functionalities thoroughly.
I imagine communication skills are pretty important too.
Oh, absolutely. They need to be able to explain their findings clearly to developers, project managers, even non-technical stakeholders.
That's a great point. So we've covered the technical stuff and the communication skills. Anything else I should be looking for during that interview?
Well, since they're often working as part of a team, you want someone who's going to be a good cultural fit. Someone who's collaborative, proactive, and genuinely excited about testing.
Ah, the elusive cultural fit. Always so hard to define, but so important for a really good team.
You know what's great about the perfectdeveloper.com? They actually factor in cultural fit when they're making those recommendations.
So it's not just about skills and experience, it's about finding someone who's going to thrive in your specific work environment.
Exactly, and that can make a huge difference in terms of team productivity and overall project success.
This has been so insightful. We've covered a lot of ground, but I'm sure our listeners are eager to hear more about specific strategies for building a winning WebDriver IE team. But before we jump into that, a quick reminder to our listeners. Want to simplify your developer hiring journey? Head over to theperfectdeveloper.com and answer their 5 questions.
You'll get tailored recommendations that perfectly match your project needs.
Great advice. Now let's dive into the exciting world of building a high-performing WebDriver AO team.
Let's do it. So, building a great WebDriver as AO team, it's not just about, stacking it with talented individuals.
Yeah, it's like assembling a superhero squad,
Right.
right? Each with their own unique powers, but they need to work together seamlessly.
Exactly. You need to foster that environment where collaboration is key. Open communication and continuous learning are just the norm.
So where do we even begin? What are the foundational elements of building this dream team?
Well, first and foremost, you need a really clear vision. What are the team's goals? How does their work actually contribute to the success of the project as a whole? You got to make sure everyone is on the same page from day one.
A shared sense of purpose?
I like that.
Yeah, and don't just set those goals and forget about them. Regularly track progress, celebrate milestones, openly address any challenges that pop up. Transparency is key.
And that keeps everyone motivated and engaged.
Absolutely. And encourage feedback too, both from the top down and the bottom up. You want to create a space where team members feel comfortable sharing their ideas and their concerns.
That fosters a sense of ownership and accountability.
Yeah.
For sure. Now remember, we talked about the tech world always evolving. Continuous learning is essential for any WebDriver AI team.
So we're talking conferences, workshops,
Yeah.
online courses, all that jazz.
All of that and more. Encourage knowledge sharing within the team, experiment with new tools and techniques, and just always be staying up to date on those industry trends.
So it's all about fostering that growth mindset, always striving to get better.
Yeah. Now let's face it, even in the most harmonious teams, conflicts are going to happen. It's really how we handle them that makes all the difference.
Okay, so how do we equip our WebDriver EO dream team to navigate those choppy waters?
Open and respectful communication is key. Encourage team members to address conflicts, directly listen to each other's perspectives, and work together to find solutions.
Turning those conflicts into opportunities for growth and understanding.
Exactly. And if you hit a wall, don't hesitate to bring in a neutral third party or a mediator.
Sometimes a fresh set of eyes can make all the difference.
For sure. So another crucial aspect of building a successful WebDriver EO team is establishing clear roles and responsibilities.
So everyone knows what they're accountable for and how their piece fits into the larger puzzle.
You gotta think about the different skills and experience levels within the team. Do you have someone who's amazing at test automation? Someone who's a whiz at framework development? Leverage those strengths and create a structure where everyone can truly thrive.
Delegation and specialization are key.
Yes, and don't be afraid to adjust those roles as the team evolves and projects change.
Flexibility is essential in this fast-paced world of tech.
Yeah, this is where the perfectdeveloper.com really shines. They don't just focus on individual skills. They help you build entire teams with the right mix of expertise and personality.
So they're like the architects of high-performing developer teams.
Precisely. They take the time to understand your company culture, your project requirements, and even your team dynamics to create a really cohesive and effective unit.
It sounds like they're taking all the guesswork out of team building.
Absolutely. They make it so much easier to find that perfect WebDriver AO talent
Right.
and structure a team that's set up for success from the start.
That's incredible. Okay, so we've laid the groundwork for building a strong WebDriver EO team. Now let's talk about the practicalities of managing and leading this team. What are some essential tips for making sure they stay successful?
Okay, so we've assembled this amazing WebDriver EO team, right? Like our A team. How do we make sure they stay at the top of their game? It's not like we can just set them loose and hope for the best.
Right, definitely not. Effective leadership is so crucial for any high-performing team,
Yeah.
especially in a field that's moving as fast as web development.
So what does good leadership actually look like in this kind of situation? What should I be focusing on?
Well, one of the most important things is creating this culture of trust and mutual respect. Encourage that open communication where people feel comfortable sharing their ideas, their challenges, and even their mistakes.
Because mistakes happen, right?
Yeah,
Especially when you're kind of pushing the boundaries of what's possible.
exactly. And when they do happen, try to frame those mistakes as learning opportunities. Rather than, blaming individuals, it really fosters that growth mindset and encourages more innovation. That makes a lot of sense. So how do we balance that freedom to experiment with that need for clear direction and accountability?
It's a good question. It's all about setting those clear expectations and providing regular feedback. You want to make sure each team member understands their individual goals and how what they're working on contributes to the big picture.
So regular check-ins, progress reports, that kind of thing.
Exactly. But you don't want it to feel like you're micromanaging. It's more about providing support guidance and recognizing those achievements.
That balance is key. Now, we talked a lot about the technical skills, the teamwork, all that. But what about staying ahead of the curve? How do we make sure our WebDriver AO team is always up to date on the latest and greatest?
Continuous learning is essential. Encourage them to attend conferences, workshops, online courses, even contribute to some open source projects.
So investing in their professional development.
Absolutely. It not only benefits the team's skills, but also shows that you value their growth and expertise. And it helps keep them engaged and motivated.
It's a win-win for everyone. Now, before we wrap up this deep dive, any final words of wisdom for those who are about to embark on this WebDriver IO hiring journey?
Well, remember, building a successful WebDriver IO team, it's an ongoing process. It takes time and effort and a commitment to building that positive and supportive environment.
And if you're feeling a little overwhelmed, don't be afraid to reach out for some help. Theperfectdeveloper.com. They're experts at navigating all of this.
Yeah, they can help you find the right people, structure your team in a way that makes sense, and even provide ongoing support and guidance.
So whether you're just starting to explore WebDriver IO or you're ready to take your team to that next level, theperfectdeveloper.com is an incredible resource.
Definitely check them out. Go to their website, answer those 5 questions, and they'll help guide you to building a world-class WebDriver IO team.
Great advice. And that's a wrap for today's mini deep dive. We hope you found it helpful and maybe even a little inspiring. Until next time, happy testing.